Alright, welcome to part 3 of our rocket tutorial. Part 3, what we're going to be doing is animating our cloud texture. So what we need to do first is right click and select our plane, and then what you want to do is hover your mouse over these two windows here, and you're going to right click and do split area. And this top one we want to change to the graph editor so that we can see the keyframes that we're putting in. Okay, and once you have that done, go ahead and click on the texture button, and under the cloud texture that you've created, you want to open up where it says mapping and find the offset properties. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to go to frame 50, and we're going to adjust the values for the X and the Z. And by adjusting the offset values of the texture, we're going to create the effect that the cloud texture is moving. So you want to make sure you're at frame 50, and then for the X value we're going to set it to 1, and we're going to set the Z value to -1. And what you want to do is have your cursor over these numbers, and you're going to push I on your keyboard. And when you do that, you'll notice that it turns from gray to yellow. And if you look at your frames, you'll see that it is now yellow. And then up here on your graph editor, under frame 50, you can see two dots. We know that the X is red, so the X value is at 1, and the Z value is at -1 at frame 50. Next thing we need to do is go to frame 250 and press enter, and we're going to reverse the values. So for X it'll be at -1 now, and at Z it'll be at 1. And then once you have that, you'll go ahead and press I, and you'll set a keyframe there, and you'll notice that it'll turn yellow. And once you have those two things, up in your graph editor you should see something that resembles this. Okay. Now if you mess up, what you can do is you can always select it, and with your mouse hovered over like that, you can do Alt I, and that'll take away the keyframe. Okay, so I'm going to do Control Z just to undo that. Alright, so, and to tell that you've done it correctly, you can go to frame 50 and press Alt A, and you can see over here that these values are changing. And if your values are changing once you hit 50, basically you've done it correctly. If you hit F12, see, so we can get out of this basically by right clicking and do join area, and you want the arrow to point up, and then left click. Okay, so we're back here. So let's say we're at frame 60 and you hit F12. When you render, you notice that your clouds will look like this. Now if I hit escape and I go further down to say frame 80 and hit F12, you can notice that before we didn't have this area here or this area here. So the clouds are moving, and that's basically the way that you can tell that it worked. And then at the end, once we get finished with everything, we will render this to a video, and you'll be able to see the motion of the clouds. Okay, so that'll be it for part 3. Remember to go to File and Save, and once you're done you can go along to part 4. Thank you.